6:30 a.m., Tuesday morning. I'm heading out for a sunrise ride, coffee still hot in my hand. The air smells like wet grass, suburban perfection, or so I thought. Then I see my Harley. 15 years restoring her. 28 grand invested. My late wife's name airbrushed on the tank, now carved through with deep scratches. The ignition's punched out, gasoline dripping onto the driveway, that sharp chemical sting hitting me like a slap. Before I can even process it, a kid strolls over from across the street. Maybe 23, smirking like the world owes him something. "Shouldn't park your junk out here, old man," he says, already holding his phone. "Yeah, 911? Guy at 42 Larkspur just threatened to kill me." Sirens in the distance. Getting closer, what would you do right now? Tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from? The kid thinks he's won. He doesn't know I spent 22 years making punks like him regret that grin. This story gets better. My name's Garrett Trudeau, 59, retired ATF special agent out of Chicago. 22 years with a federal badge, gun trafficking, cartel money laundering, the kind of work that teaches you to read people fast and stay calm when everything goes sideways. I retired 3 years ago when my wife, Miranda, died. Cancer took her in 11 months. 31 years of marriage, gone. After her funeral, I knew I couldn't keep chasing criminals through Chicago's worst neighborhoods. So I took my pension, sold our house, and moved here, to Pine Haven Meadows, a planned community about 40 minutes outside Indianapolis. Peaceful, quiet, the kind of place where the biggest drama should be a broken sprinkler. The Harley was ours. Miranda and I bought that 1995 Heritage Softail when we were young, and foolish enough to think we'd ride cross-country someday. Life got in the way, jobs, bills, her mother's health. The bike sat untouched in our garage for 15 years. After she passed, I started restoring it.
Maybe it was therapy.
I'd spend hours in the garage surrounded by the scent of oil and steel. Each bolt tightened like a promise kept to her. Pine Haven seemed perfect. 140 homes. Tree-lined streets, a small community center. My ranch at 42 Larkspur wasn't fancy, but it was peaceful. Clean lawn, good sunsets. For the first 4 months, life was smooth. I kept to myself. Mowed the lawn every Saturday morning at 8 sharp. Old military habits die hard. And helped my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Kowalski, carry her groceries whenever I saw her struggling. Then I met Deandra Calloway. She lived across the cul-de-sac in a colonial twice the size of mine. 52, divorced, and carried herself like she owned the world. Drove a leased Audi Q5, wore designer athleisure, and ruled the neighborhood like her personal kingdom. You could always hear her before you saw her at HOA meetings, those acrylic nails tapping against her phone screen as she scrolled through a list of violations. Deandra was the HOA treasurer but acted like president, sheriff, and judge all at once. Her son, Jackson, lived with her. 23, unemployed, drove a modified Charger with an exhaust that sounded like a sick animal. I later learned he had a sealed juvenile record, 2 DUIs, petty theft, disorderly conduct. The kind of kid who never faced consequences because his mother paid to make them disappear. 2 weeks after moving in, I parked my Harley in the driveway, perfectly legal according to the bylaws I'd read cover to cover. The next morning, a printed notice was tucked under the seat. Motorcycles must be garaged. They lower property values. $150 per day fine begins Monday. I double-checked the bylaws. Section 7C, motorcycles explicitly allowed in driveways. Only RVs and boats needed approval. She made it up. I sent a polite email to the board with a screenshot of the rule, thinking that would settle it. 3 days later, Deandra called an emergency meeting. She proposed a visual blight amendment, making motorcycle driveway parking require written approval. 5-member board. She controlled 2 votes through intimidation. The motion passed 3-2. Overnight, my legal parking spot became a violation. That evening, I sat on my porch watching her house across the street, lights glowing behind closed blinds. The cicadas buzzed in the warm air, and that old itch started between my shoulders, the same one I used to get before raids when I could sense danger nearby. See? That Harley wasn't just a bike. Miranda's bandana still hung from the handlebar. Her name was painted on that tank. It was the last real piece of her I had left, and I wasn't about to let a petty suburban tyrant with a clipboard erase that. Deandra Calloway made a critical mistake. She picked a fight with someone who'd spent 2 decades making people like her face consequences. The harassment started 5 days later. At 6 a.m., I jolted awake as a deafening roar shook my windows. Instinct had my hand reaching for the nightstand where I used to keep my service weapon 20 years ago. But it wasn't gunfire. It was Jackson's Charger, his cheap exhaust screaming outside my bedroom before tearing off down the street. Next morning, same time, same sound. Day 3, a trash bag appeared near the edge of my lawn. Technically on the public easement, so I couldn't prove it was his. But inside were fast food wrappers and an energy drink can with Jackson scrawled across it in Sharpie. Not exactly subtle. By day 7, I had it all documented. I'd installed a 4K security system the day after the board meeting. 4 discrete cameras, legally placed to cover my property and the public street. Nothing invasive, all within Indiana law. The footage was perfect. Every morning at 6 sharp, Jackson doing his drive-by. Every few nights, same figure, same stride, dumping trash near my mailbox. I created a spreadsheet. Timestamps, license plates, decibel readings from a phone app. My old supervisor used to say, "Documentation wins trials, not theories." Turns out it applies to HOA wars too. Then I ran a background check. Public records, completely legal, took 20 minutes. People always assume their dirt's hidden. It's not. Jackson Calloway's file was a goldmine. 2 DUIs, both pleaded down. Arrest dates showing a sealed juvenile record for disorderly conduct and theft. Best part, his driver's license had been suspended 6 months ago for unpaid court fines totaling $4,200. Meaning every morning he revved that engine outside my house. He was committing a crime. I filed the information neatly away. You don't play your cards until it's time to win the pot. Patience. That's what separates rookies from survivors. Day 13, grocery store parking lot. I'm loading saddlebags on the Harley when Jackson's Charger screeches in behind me, blocking my exit. He jumps out, phone recording that same smug grin plastered across his face. "My mom says you're making her life miserable with your lawyer," he sneers. I don't even look up. Just keep strapping down my groceries slow and steady. Heat's pouring off his hood, that burnt oil smell thick in the air. "Son," I say, "I haven't called a lawyer yet. When I do, you'll know." He steps closer, phone aimed right at me. "This is harassment. I'm recording you threatening me right now." I finally meet his eyes and give him the same smile I used to give suspects in interrogation rooms. The one that says, "I've already won and you don't even know it yet." "Good," I tell him. "Make sure you get the part where you're parked illegally in a fire lane." I nod toward the yellow curb under his rear tire. "That's camera 3, I say. Right there by the entrance. Great angle." His eyes flick up, catching sight of the security camera. The smirk fades. He scrambles back into his car and speeds off, tires squealing across the asphalt. I finish loading the groceries, wave to the worried store manager, and tell him it's just a misunderstanding. Then I head home. That evening, there's a certified letter in my mailbox, official HOA letterhead. $600 in accumulated fines for motorcycle parking. Due in 10 days or they'll place a lien on my property. Here's where Deandra slipped up. The signature block lists her as HOA president. She isn't. She's the treasurer. The real president is Gregory Matsuno, a retired schoolteacher who barely speaks during meetings. Forging official authority isn't an HOA disagreement. It's fraud. And I've seen this before. Back in Chicago, small-time operators got drunk on power, started cutting corners, figured nobody would notice. They always made the same mistake, underestimating documentation. I photograph the letter, scan it, and save copies to 3 drives. Then I start calling board members. Nothing confrontational, just friendly coffee invitations. Gregory agrees right away. His voice sounds tired, worn down, almost frightened. 2 others practically worship Deandra, parroting her every word. But Yolanda, a retired accountant in her 60s, hesitates when I mention the HOA finances. "Between you and me," she says quietly, "something doesn't add up. I asked to review the financials last month." Deandra shut me down. Told me it wasn't my concern as a regular board member. I thank her and hang up. The cracks are showing. Deandra built her little empire on fear and gossip, counting on no one to look too closely at the foundation. Time to apply pressure. 4:47 a.m., day 19, my phone buzzes. Emotion alert. I'm half asleep when I open the feed. There's a hooded figure crouched by my Harley. Even in the dim light, I recognize the build. Jackson. He drags a key across the tank, carving long, deliberate gouges straight through the midnight blue paint, right through Miranda's name in silver script. Then he pulls out a screwdriver and starts jamming it into the ignition, metal scraping metal in the quiet darkness. Every instinct screams, go out there now. But the seasoned part of me, the one that built airtight federal cases, says, let him finish. Make it undeniable. He looks straight into the camera, grins, flips it off and walks away like he's taking out the trash. I wait until he's back inside Deandra's house before stepping outside. The damage hits harder than I expect. Miranda's name scarred and gouged, the ignition mangled, gas pooling beneath the bike, the chemical sting burning my throat. For a moment the anger rises, hot and dangerous, the kind that gets agents in trouble when things turn personal. I push it down. Anger makes you sloppy. I go inside and wait. 30 a.m., right on schedule, Jackson strolls across the cul-de-sac wearing that smug grin. Morning, neighbor. Something wrong with your bike? He asks, dripping with fake concern. Real shame when stuff gets damaged. Maybe you should park it in the garage like Mom says. I sip my coffee. You looked right at the camera, he stops. The smirk flickers. 47 this morning, I say evenly. You keyed the tank, punched the ignition, smiled at camera too, even flipped it off. That's felony criminal mischief in Indiana. Damage over $3,000. 2 to 8 years. His face drains pale, then flushes red. He fumbles for his phone, voice shaking. You're threatening me. I'm calling the cops. Good, I reply. Save me the trouble. He actually does it. Yeah, 42 Larkspur. This guy's threatening me over his motorcycle. He's got illegal cameras. I think he's about to attack me. 8 minutes later, 2 squad cars roll up. Sergeant Nyland steps out, a seasoned officer in his 50s, followed by a younger partner named Perez. Jackson's performing for the neighborhood now. Officers, thank God. This man's been harassing me for weeks, threatening me, blaming me for scratches I didn't cause. I keep my hands visible. Sergeant, I have high-definition video footage. The suspect's face is clear, time-stamped, felony-level damage. I hand him the USB drive I'd already prepared. Neelan squints at me. Wait, Trudeau? ATF Trudeau? Bridgeport Task Force retired? I nod. Just want to file charges. Recognition changes everything. He takes the drive and Jackson's bravado collapses. He pulls out his phone again, calling his mother. Deandra shows up 7 minutes later, barefoot and furious, robe flapping like a flag. She screeches into my driveway as if invading Normandy. Officers, she yells, pointing at me like I'm a criminal. This man has been harassing my son for weeks. I have witnesses. I have documentation. She waves a stack of printed papers, probably keeps them ready for emergencies like this. Neelan exhales. Ma'am, we have video evidence of your son destroying property. That camera is illegal, she snaps. It's pointed at my house. It's a privacy violation. The cameras only record my property in public areas, I say calmly. Completely legal in Indiana. Nyland nods. Your son is under arrest for felony criminal mischief. Perez cuffs Jackson. The smirk is gone now, replaced by genuine fear. He looks at Deandra, who's glaring at me like I just burned her kingdom to the ground. This isn't over, she hisses. I will destroy you. I take another sip of coffee. Looking forward to it. The squad cars roll away with Jackson in the back seat. Deandra stands in my driveway, trembling with rage before storming home. Curtains twitch across the street. Mrs. Kowalski watches. So do the others. The whole cul-de-sac just saw the Queen's son fall from grace. Sergeant Nyland pauses before leaving. She's got connections with the township supervisor, he says quietly. Watch your back, I nod. Already planning on it. The sun's fully up now. Birds singing, sprinklers kicking on, the morning air thick with the scent of coffee and gasoline. I look at the Harley, Miranda's name scarred but still visible. Not done yet, I whisper. Not even close, day 23. Another certified letter. Thicker this time. Emergency special assessment. $5,800 per household for immediate road repairs and legal consultation. Payment due in 24 hours. Non-compliance will result in immediate lien. Indiana law requires 30 days notice for assessments over $500. This isn't bending the rules, it's breaking them. I called Township Public Works. A woman named Susan answers, confused. No permits filed, sir. Your HOA hasn't requested roadwork in over 18 months. So where's the money going? I spent 2 hours cutting through red tape to access the HOA's financial statements.
Indiana law says members have the right to see them, but Deandra's made it as difficult as possible.
3 formal requests later, I'm finally looking at the books. $47,000 transferred to Callaway Consulting, LLC, over 18 months. I run a quick registry search. Old habits from tracking cartel shell companies die hard. The business is registered to Deandra's home address. Sole proprietor, Deandra Marie Callaway. She's been paying herself for services that don't exist. I've seen this before. Someone gets a little power, realizes no one's watching, and starts siphoning money. They always think they're too clever to get caught. They never are. Then my phone rings. Unknown number, Mr. Trudeau, Sloan Beckett, Indianapolis Star. I cover suburban corruption. Heard you might have an HOA story worth investigating. Word travels fast, I say. Possibly. What are you thinking? Coffee tomorrow? You bring the documentation, I'll bring front page placement. We set a time. That evening, Deandra strikes back on Facebook, T9 p.m. Pine Haven Meadows Community Group. Concerned about an aggressive newcomer, threatening the safety of our children. Use. Caution near 42 Larkspur Lane. The individual has made threats against longtime residents and shows signs of instability. Protecting our community is paramount. A photo was attached. My house. Veteran plates visible. Comments poured in from her friends. The coordination was obvious. I heard he threatened someone. PTSD issues. My kids play there. Terrifying. I took screenshots of everything, printed the posts, and added them to my growing file. But then 3 comments broke the pattern. Wait, isn't this the guy whose bike got vandalized? Didn't the Callaway kid get arrested? The cops had video evidence. Maybe there's more to this story. Didn't you fine him for legal parking, Deandra? Not everyone was buying her lies anymore. I didn't respond. That's exactly what she wanted. A public fight she could twist into proof of aggression. Instead, I made quiet calls. Mrs. Kowalski, the elderly woman whose sprinkler I once fixed. The Brunella's young parents. Rick Verson, the contractor. Turned out I wasn't alone. Mrs. Kowalski had paid $3,400 in landscaping fines over 2 years. Her yard was flawless. She'd stopped fighting after Deandra threatened to put a lien on her home. With medical bills stacking up, she couldn't risk it. The Brunellas fined $800 for an unapproved pool structure. It was an inflatable kiddie pool for their 3-year-old. Rick had paid $200 in commercial vehicle violations before giving up and parking his work truck at his brother's house. By midnight, I'd counted 8 households, $2,860 in bogus fines. Add her $47,000 in self-payments, and Deandra was sitting on more than $75,000 in fraud. The next morning, I met Sloan Beckett at the Highway 52 diner, mid-40s, sharp eyes, recorder ready. The air smelled of burnt coffee and bacon grease. The red vinyl booth stuck to my forearms as I slid the folder across the table. Bank statements, fake invoices, victim statements, Facebook screenshots, police reports, Sloan read slowly. Her expression shifted from professional calm to barely contained anger. This is criminally prosecutable, she said. You know that? I do. You want this public? I want every homeowner who paid fake fines to know they can get their money back, I said. And I want her to understand that actions have consequences. Sloan gave a tight smile. 2 weeks. I'll verify everything, make it bulletproof, talk to my sources. Then we go big. 2 weeks, I said. I can wait. We shook hands. I want every homeowner who paid fake fines to know they can get their money back, I told her. And I want Deandra to understand that actions have consequences. Sloan gave a slight smile. 2 weeks. I'll vet everything, clear it legally, talk to sources, then we go big. 2 weeks, I said. I can wait. We shook hands. Driving home, I spotted Deandra standing in her driveway, arms crossed, eyes cold. She didn't speak, just watched me park and walk inside. She could feel it. The ground shifting beneath her. Good. Let her worry. Day 31. Late evening. My home office was buried under stacks of files. Gregory Matsuno had dropped off earlier. 3 years of HOA records he'd been too afraid to share while Deandra was watching. Gregory looked like he'd aged a decade overnight. His wife's cancer treatments were draining their savings, and he finally admitted Deandra had threatened to create problems with their insurance if he didn't vote her way. Classic intimidation. Somewhere around page 43 of the 2006 HOA charter, I found it, buried in dense legal language. Section 12, C. No amendment to parking vehicle or storage regulations shall be valid without approval by 75% of total homeowner membership via mailed ballot. Board votes alone are insufficient. I read it 3 times. My coffee had gone cold. That faint burnt smell filled the air. Deandra's so-called motorcycle ban, passed by a 3-2 board vote, was never legal. She needed 75% of all 140 homeowners. She got 3. Every fine she'd ever issued under that rule. I called Marcus Feinstein, the pro bono attorney from Legal Aid. He picked up despite the late hour. Marcus found something. A charter clause that nukes every parking fine she's ever written. Send it. I snapped a photo and texted it. 30 seconds later, silence broke. Holy hell, he muttered. This isn't just voidable, it's harassment. Every fine she collected was illegal extraction. And the embezzlement? I asked, trickier. Bank transfers alone don't prove fraud if she claims she performed legitimate services. You'd need proof she didn't, or better yet, get her to admit it. On record. On record would be game over. We strategized for 15 minutes. The plan took shape. Let her think she's winning. Bait one more power grab, then hit everything at once. Media, legal, community. Sloane's article needed 2 weeks. Marcus could file the injunction and class action in 3. Can you be ready in 3 weeks? He asked. Count on it. When the call ended, I sat there staring at that charter page. Deandra's entire reign was built on bluff and bluster. She'd rewritten reality, banking on the idea that nobody would ever check the fine print. But the thing about receipts? They don't lie, unlike the people writing them. A text from Gregory pinged, board meeting next month. Another special assessment, $3,200 for security upgrades. I replied, perfect. Let her dig deeper. Then Sloane texted, 3 more victims on record. Single mom paid $1,800 in fake noise violations because her kids played outside. This story's going nuclear. Across the cul-de-sac, Deandra's living room lights blazed. Her silhouette moved past the curtains, plotting, no doubt. Still convinced she was untouchable, she had no idea the foundation beneath her empire was already cracking. I glanced at Miranda's photo on my desk, her smile frozen from a camping trip 15 years ago. The frame edges smooth from years of handling. Almost there, babe, I whispered. Almost done. Days 34 through 42. My dining table vanished under binders and color-coded folders. Laptop running 20 hours a day. Between strategy sessions, I worked in the garage, restoring the Harley. The smell of chrome polish and new paint filled the air, something steady in all the chaos. Gregory first. We met at his kitchen table while his wife was at chemo. He looked hollow. 3 years under Deandra's thumb had left marks that went deeper than fatigue. You're still the president, I told him. You can call an emergency meeting. He hesitated until I showed him the list. 8 victims. $28,000 in fake fines. Mrs. Kowalski's name at the top. Something in his expression hardened. When? 3 weeks. Saturday, 10 a.m. Agenda. Officially. Enforcement of delinquent assessments. Let her think she's winning. He nodded slowly. I'll do it. Then Sloane Beckett. Her office wall was a collage of HOA horror stories from across Indiana. This runs deeper than one neighborhood, I told her. I need a camera crew at that meeting. She hesitated until I mentioned the embezzlement angle and the public exposure. Her eyes lit up. We'll call it a series on HOA corruption. I'll bring a photographer and videographer. She smiled. Be ready. It's going to get loud. Marcus Feinstein meets me downtown, his legal pad filled with notes. 3 simultaneous filings, he says, tapping each line. An injunction against the assessment, a class action for illegal fines, and a forensic audit demand. We hit her from all sides, maximum impact. The injunction freezes her ability to collect any liens. The class action forces her on the defensive. The audit opens her books or she risks contempt. Most people don't realize how powerful injunctions can be. They cost just a few $100s to file, and judges genuinely like stopping HOA abuse. I learned that while tracking federal asset seizures, the same principle applies. You hit pause on someone's power to hurt you while building a bulletproof case. All you need is solid evidence of immediate harm, and we have that in spades. When do we serve? I ask. At the meeting, Marcus replies. Process server waits outside. She starts her presentation and we walk in. Everything handed to her in front of everyone. He smiles. She'll lose it. Emotional people make mistakes. We want her angry and talking. The victim coalition comes together over 2 evenings. Mrs. Kowalski's grandson pushes her wheelchair up my driveway. The Brunellis arrive with their 3-year-old, who asks softly, "Is the mean lady going away?" Rick Ferson's brother, a paralegal, takes careful notes. "Everyone's ready. Show up together," I tell them. "Bring your kids. She's treated you like case numbers. Let her see that you're real families with real lives." Mrs. Kowalski grips my hand, her skin thin but strong. "I thought I'd lose my home," she whispers. "I've been paying her for 2 years. Thank Gregory," I say. "He's putting his reputation on the line." "I'll thank you both." I build a simple website, pinehaven.com, clean layout. Bank statements showing the $47,000 in self-payments. Testimonies, fake fine notices, the original HOA charter with Section 12C highlighted. Every document redacted for privacy, sourced and dated. Back in my federal days, my old supervisor had a saying, "Transparency is credibility's best friend." If you're accusing someone of corruption, show your work. Or don't speak at all. I print 50 QR-coded business cards linking straight to the site. The night before the confrontation, I'm in the garage finishing the Harley. Miranda's name gleams under the work light. The silver script restored. I tie her bandana around the handlebar and run my hand along the smooth tank. The paint a perfect mirror. Across the cul-de-sac, Deandra's windows glow bright. She's pacing on the phone. She knows something's coming. My phone buzzes. Marcus, process server confirmed. Gregory, legal reviewed everything, airtight. Sloan, crew ready, front page material. The meeting post shows 42 RSVPs, triple the usual. I glance at Miranda's photo on the workbench, her Colorado smile frozen in time. Tomorrow, I whisper, we finish this. The garage air is thick with chrome polish and paint thinner, that sweet chemical scent of a job nearly done. My hands are steady. The plan is solid. Deandra Calloway is about to learn that some people don't stay silent when pushed. Some know exactly how to push back, legally, methodically, and permanently. Days 46 through 48. Deandra's desperation shows, and desperate people get sloppy. 1 p.m. Day 46, a fake Facebook profile appears. A concerned Pine Haven resident claims I have federal firearms charges and call me a danger to children. A complete lie. My record's spotless, but the post spreads. 43 shares before Facebook removes it 12 hours later. The damage is done. My phone floods with worried messages. One neighbor with kids crosses the street rather than pass me as I collect the mail. The sting of that moment settles heavy in my chest. That sting sits heavy in my chest. I screenshot every comment and file a police report. Detective Alicia Brennan from Cybercrimes traces the IP within 30 minutes. 3 doors down from Deandra's house. Either Jackson used his phone or she used his Wi-Fi. Sloppy either way. Day 47 evening. I'm grilling chicken when I hear footsteps on the front walk. Deandra stands at my door holding a store-bought pie in a plastic container. The artificial apple scent mixes with perfume so strong it could stop a clock. "Garrett, we should talk," she says, forcing a neighborly smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I let her in but don't offer her a seat. She sets the pie down like we're about to share small talk. "Look, we started off wrong," she begins. "What if I wipe all your fines clean? A fresh start. You drop the legal filings and vote with me Saturday to strengthen board authority. You've got federal credentials, people respect that. I need someone credible when the auditors come." There it is, proof she knows about the audit demand Marcus filed quietly last week. "Auditors?" I ask, keeping my expression neutral. "Problem with the books?" She recovers quickly. "Just standard procedure," she says, brushing it off. "Do we have a deal?" "I'll think about it." She leaves frustrated, her fake smile disappearing before she even reaches her Audi. The pie stays on the counter, untouched. I'm not eating anything she brought into my house. For all I know, it's tainted with her particular brand of chaos. I call Marcus. She knows about the audit. He sighs. Public record, but someone tipped her off. Maybe a friend in the clerk's office. We'll move faster. 1:30 p.m., day 48. Security alert, back door. The camera shows Jackson with a crowbar trying to force the lock. No gloves, no plan. I dial 911, then speak loudly through the door. Police are on the way. I'm armed. Leave now. The crowbar clatters on the concrete as he bolts. I bag it with a kitchen towel. Old evidence habits die hard. Sergeant Inland arrives 8 minutes later. Kid never learns, he mutters. Jackson is arrested 20 minutes after that. Attempted burglary, his second arrest in 3 weeks. AM. Deandra's Facebook page erupts. This monster got my son arrested again.
He planted evidence.
Someone stop him before he hurts our children. She posts my full address, 42 Larkspur Lane, and calls for community action. My phone won't stop buzzing. By morning, more than 60 people have reported her post. Facebook suspends her account for 24 hours. 3 neighbors share their own security footage showing Jackson's break-in, complete with timestamps. The comments start flipping. Wait, her son's the criminal? How many times has he been arrested now? The narrative is turning. She's losing control of the story she spun for 3 years. Morning, day 49. I shower carefully and put on a sport coat. Project authority. I load USB drives for each board member. Marcus texts, process server ready. Sloan confirms. Camera crew already setting up at the community center. I glance at the Harley gleaming in the morning sun, Miranda's name shining perfectly across the tank. Then I drive to the community center, calm and focused. The kind of calm that comes right before impact. The parking lot is already full. Mrs. Kowalski's grandson helps her from their van. The Brunellis arrive with their kids. Rick Verson and his brother pull up next. All 8 plaintiff households arrive together, just as planned. Deandra's Audi sits front and center, crooked across 2 spaces like she owns the place. Through the windows, I see her at the head table, arranging papers with sharp, impatient movements. She's wearing a power suit, hair sprayed into submission, chin tilted high. She thinks this is her victory lap, her chance to crush me publicly, to make an example of the man who dared challenge her authority. She has no idea she's walking straight into an ambush. I grab my briefcase, check my phone one last time. Marcus waiting outside, Sloan filming, Gregory already inside. She's gloating. I take a deep breath, smooth my jacket, and head toward the door. Time to show Deandra Calloway what real consequences look like. Day 49, 4 hours before the meeting. 7:01 a.m. An email blast from Deandra hits everyone's inbox. Emergency assessment deadline extended 30 days due to administrative error. Disregard previous lane notices. She's scrambling, erasing evidence, trying to undo the extortion trail now that she senses trouble. I screenshot it and forward it to Marcus. His reply is instant, too late. We have originals with metadata. She just admitted guilt by retracting the threats. 15 a.m. The battle lines are drawn at the community center. Deandra's 12 loyal supporters sit up front, wearing matching beautification committee visors, arms crossed like soldiers defending a fort. My coalition, Mrs. Kowalski in her wheelchair, the Brunellis with their toddler, Rick Verson and his paralegal brother, and 5 other families, gathers near the back, earning cold stares. Gregory arrives last, pale and sweating, his laptop trembling in his hands. He won't even look at Deandra, who's holding court at the front like a general inspecting her troops. The air smells of stale coffee and floor wax. The fluorescent lights hum with that sharp buzz that grates the nerves. 60 people crammed into a space built for 40. Sloan's camera crew sets up quietly in the corner, pretending to shoot background footage. I spot the photographer angling for the perfect shot of the front table. 45 a.m. Deandra sits flanked by her 2 loyal board members, papers stacked neatly in front of her, checking her phone over and over. Gregory sits apart, isolated, his closed laptop a shield. The power dynamics are visible in the room itself, her supporters up front, opponents in back, the undecided trapped in the middle waiting for blood. 10 a.m. Deandra's. Gavel cracks through the noise like a gunshot. Thank you for attending. The meeting begins with Deandra at the head of the table, gavel in hand. We have serious business tonight, she says. Certain members think the rules don't apply to them. This board must enforce standards. She's staring straight at me. I don't blink. Just sit there. Briefcase in my lap, face calm. First item, she continues. Approval of special assessment distribution for legal costs and community improvements requiring immediate funding. A man raises his hand. What legal costs specifically? Nothing about that was in the newsletter. Deandra's smile tightens. That's confidential board business. She moves on quickly. Next item. Ongoing member harassment disrupting our governance. She pulls out a written statement and starts reading. According to her, I've intimidated her family, weaponized the legal system, and created a hostile environment through surveillance. It's almost a convincing performance, almost. Her voice cracks twice and her hands are shaking as she turns the pages. Then Gregory stands. I move to amend the agenda, he says, voice steady. Add an item. Review of financial discrepancies and board authority limits. Deandra freezes. Out of order, she snaps. Robert's rules allow amendments before the vote, Gregory replies. I'm president. I'm amending. The room goes silent. You can hear individual breaths. This is the moment everything changes. Yolanda raises her hand. I second. Deandra looks like she's been slapped. Her power is slipping and she knows it. From the middle row, Marcus Feinstein stands. If I may. I'm the attorney for 8 households. I have documentation of serious financial and procedural violations. Every homeowner deserves to see this. He walks forward and lays down stacks of binders and 30 copies. Bank statements, fake invoices, testimonies, screenshots. Deandra's on her feet now. Private meeting. You can't distribute those. Indiana open door law, Marcus says evenly. HOA meetings are public. Mr. Trudeau invited me as his guest. He hands out the binders. People flip through the pages. Gasps fill the room. I paid $1,200 for a deck violation that never existed. Someone shouts. She threatened CPS over my fence, another says. The undecided middle just turned angry. Controlled fury fills the air. Deandra's backed against the wall, face red, eyes wild. Her phone rings. Once, twice again. Aren't you going to answer that? I ask quietly. She finally picks up, steps into the hall. We hear her voice echo. What do you mean the star is calling? Who authorized that? Don't comment. When she returns, her face is pale. From the back, Sloan Beckett stand, press badge visible. Mrs. Calloway, can you comment on allegations of embezzlement and harassment? Our story runs tomorrow. Deandra's mouth opens, closes, but no sound comes out. And we still haven't even served the lawsuit. She slams her phone down, cracking it against the table. This is a setup, she screams. He's using his federal background to intimidate honest residents. I stand slowly. Every eye follows, Mrs. Calloway, I say. You can answer, or I can just share the facts. My name is Garrett Trudeau. 22 years with ATF, Chicago Field Office, Financial Crimes Division. I track money through shell companies and fake invoices. The room stills. Even her supporters stop fidgeting. Section 12C of our 2006 charter requires a 75% homeowner vote for parking amendments. Your motorcycle ban? 3 board votes, no ballot. Every fine you issued under it is void, people murmur. Pages flip. And about Calloway Consulting LLC, I continue. Registered to your home. Sole proprietor. Over the last 18 months, this HOA paid your company $47,000. What services did you provide? Her face drains to white. Management work. Coordination. Township records show no permits, no scheduled work. Or maybe the $12,000 for snow removal consulting in 2022. The winter Indianapolis had 0 measurable snowfall. Nervous laughter breaks out. You didn't enforce community standards, Mrs. Calloway. You ran a protection racket. Tears glisten in Mrs. Kowalski's eyes. She threatened to take my house, she whispers. Deandra tries to regain control. Slander. I'll sue. The door opens. A woman in a professional suit steps in. Deandra Calloway, she says. You've been served. She hands over a thick manila envelope. Deandra rips it open. Her face goes green. Marcus stands. 3 lawsuits filed this morning. Injunction blocking all collections, class action for fraudulent fines, and a forensic audit of 5 years of finances. The room erupts. Applause. Cheers. Gregory raises his hand. I move that we remove Deandra Calloway from the board immediately for cause. Second, Yolanda says. Third, all in favor? 38 hands go up. Motion carries. Deandra stands frozen, papers trembling, face ashen. Then she grabs her purse and storms out, knocking over a chair as the room explodes again, this time in relief. "You'll regret this. All of you." Her voice cracks on the last word. Deandra storms toward the exit but stops inches from me. "This isn't over," she whispers. I lean in just enough to meet her eyes. "Yes, it is," I tell her quietly. "And you did it to yourself." She leaves. The door slams hard enough to rattle the frame, echoing off the linoleum like a gunshot. No one moves. Then Mrs. Kowalski starts clapping. The Brunellis join. And suddenly everyone is on their feet, a standing ovation that shakes the walls. The sound rolls like thunder. I don't smile. I don't celebrate. Just nod once and sit back down. Through the window, I see Deandra's Audi peeling out, tires screeching, leaving black marks across the parking lot she once patrolled like her personal kingdom. Sloane's camera catches everything. From the back, she gives me a subtle thumbs up. Gregory walks over, hand extended. "Thank you," he says. "I should have done this 3 years ago." "You did it when it mattered," I tell him. "That's what counts." The room buzzes with energy. Neighbors compare notes from binders, swapping stories about fines they'd paid. Relief and anger mix into something new, community. Real community. Rick Verson claps my shoulder. "Drinks on me tonight, man, seriously." Mrs. Kowalski wheels over, gripping my hand with surprising strength. "My husband would have liked you," she says. "He always said bullies fold when you stand up properly." He was right, I tell her. Outside, the sun hits the parking lot just right. That golden hour glow that makes everything look clean again. Inside, the board votes to freeze all HOA accounts pending audit, suspend every fine, and hire independent management. The tyranny's over. Now comes the healing. 4 weeks later, the pieces fall exactly as planned. Deandra faces 8 criminal counts: theft by deception, extortion, witness tampering, fraud. Prosecutor Chen files charges within 72 hours of reviewing Marcus's evidence. She rejects a plea deal, still convinced she can talk her way out. The jury takes just 4 hours to convict her on 6 counts, 4 years in prison. Eligible for parole after 18 months. Her house sells fast to cover restitution. I never see her again. Jackson surprises me. He takes a plea: 18-month supervised probation, counseling, and $3,200 in restitution for the Harley. 6 months in, he knocks on my door. Won't meet my eyes. "I'm sorry," he says. "About your bike." "About everything." My mom made me think it was okay. It wasn't. He's thinner. Looks tired. The kind of tired that comes from actual work, not entitlement. "You keeping up with counseling?" I ask. "Yes, sir. Twice a week." "Good," I say. "Keep it that way. You've got time to turn this around. He might just make it. Away from her shadow. Time will tell." The audit finishes months later. 62,000 in fraud over 4 years. Between frozen assets and insurance, homeowners recover about 70% after legal fees. Mrs. Kowalski gets her $3,400 back in the first payout. Cries when I help her deposit it. The HOA rebuilds. 7-member board now. More voices. Less power concentrated. Meetings live streamed. Financials posted online every quarter. New rule: any fine over $100 requires neutral arbitration. Deandra's clipboard tyranny is dead. 6 months later, we hold the first Pine Haven Freedom Ride. 50 motorcycles, Harleys, Indians, sport bikes, and vintage Triumphs. We roll through the neighborhood at respectful speeds. Kids wave from the lawns. We raise $8,000 for the Veterans Mental Health Center. It becomes an annual tradition. The neighborhood that once tried to ban my bike now hosts a charity ride every spring. We create the Miranda Trudeau Memorial Scholarship, $2,000 a year for students pursuing public service. The first recipient, Mrs. Kowalski's granddaughter, who's studying to become a civil rights attorney. The ceremony's held at the same community center where we took Deandra down. Full circle. The locked private common area is now a community garden, 40 plots volunteer managed. Summer evenings smell like tomato plants and sound like families laughing over harvest. A sign at the entrance reads, "Grown by community, nice and not ruled by tyranny." Sloane's article wins state awards and sparks something bigger. 8 months later, Indiana passes the HOA Transparency Act. Mandatory audits. Criminal penalties for embezzlement over $5,000. A homeowner bill of rights. Some call it Trudeau's Law. I just call it closure. Rachel from the veterans group and I start seeing each other. She lost her husband in Afghanistan. She understands grief without words. We take it slow. Miranda's bandana still hangs on the Harley's handlebar. Always will. My website expands, knowyourhorights.org, covering all 50 states. 2,000 visitors a month. Dozens of communities asking for guidance. Weekly emails from people in the same fight. I can't help everyone, but I can point them toward the right resources, connect them with attorneys, show them how to document everything. And when my podcast interview, How I Took Down My HOA Karen, hits 8 million downloads, I realize something. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about making sure no one else gets crushed by the same system. And for the first time in a long time, Pinehaven feels like home. The comments start flooding in, hundreds of victory stories from all over. Turns out Deandra wasn't unique. She just picked the wrong person to push. 6 months after everything settles, a young couple moves into her old house. They're nervous, polite, still unpacking when the wife walks over while I'm washing the Harley one Saturday morning. "Mr. Trudeau," she says softly, "we heard what happened here. We need help. Our last HOA tried to foreclose on us over $50. We barely escaped." I see it in her eyes. Exhaustion, fear, and that quiet anger only people who've been cornered understand. Her husband stands behind her, protective but unsure. "Tell me everything," I say. "Bring documentation." 3 weeks later, we uncover the discrepancies, file the motions, and get their money back, plus damages. Different HOA, same playbook. Seems I'm not done fighting after all. Golden sunset. I ride the Harley down Larkspur Lane. Mrs. Kowalski waves from her porch. The Brunelli kids trail behind on their bikes, laughing as the camera pulls back. The Pinehaven Meadows sign now reads, "A community of neighbors, not subjects." My phone buzzes. A message pops up from 3 states away. "Saw your story. Our HOA president's doing the same thing. Can you help?" I smile. Text back. "Send what you've got." The work continues. Voiceover outro. YouTube segment. So, what's your worst HOA nightmare? Drop it in the comments below and your story might be next. Where are you watching from? Because trust me, this problem isn't just in one neighborhood. It's everywhere. If you love seeing underdogs stand up to bullies and beat the system, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Next week, a property manager tries to evict a veteran over his service dog and learns exactly why you never mess with a Marine's best friend. On-screen text, end credit style. Deandra Calloway convicted on 6 counts, sentenced to 4 years. Paroled after 18 months. Jackson Calloway completed probation successfully. Homeowners recovered $43,000 in total. Indiana HOA Transparency Act passed unanimously. 2026, Garrett Trudeau continues helping HOA victims nationwide. Closing narration. Thanks for watching HOA Stories. If this episode made you laugh, cheer, or shake your head at HOA madness, hit that thumbs up, share it with a friend, and tell us what you think. We post new tales of HOA chaos and neighborhood showdowns every week. So subscribe now, and don't miss the next unbelievable story.